Donatelli. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance, the #1 romance novel talk show on YouTube. In this episode, I chatted with Entertainment Weekly romance columnist Maureen Lee Lenker. Maureen chatted about her job as a writer and reviewer. She shared notable and highly anticipated romance novels of 2021, and Maureen played a game of Would You? Enjoy, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hi, Maureen. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It is a pleasure. Now, you are a digital writer and reporter for Entertainment Weekly. How did you become EW's romance columnist? Was that something that they created just for you?
Yeah, so it's a story with a little bit of kismet, almost a meet cute, if you will. So I was interning at EW, and within the first couple months of my interning there, um, I I'm a frequent customer of the Rip Bodice, and especially before the pandemic, would be in the store all the time. And so I was in there one day, and I talked to Leah and B, the two sisters who own the store, whenever I go in. And I had written a story about them when I was freelancing for LA Weekly. So they knew what I did and that I was a journalist. And so I was checking out, and Leah was like, "Oh, I spoke to one of your colleagues at Entertainment Weekly the other day. They're writing a story about romance." And I was like, "Oh, who was it?" And we, had this back and forth. So then when I went into the office the next week, I slacked that coworker and I was like, "Oh, you talked to the proprietors of my favorite bookstore. I that's so cool. I love romance." And she's like, "Wait, you love romance?" Like Tina Jordan, who is now at the New York Times, but was the longtime editor of the book section, has been looking for someone to review romance for free at EW for forever. And we've just never had anyone on staff. Like, if you're interested, you should put together a little pitch and reach out to her and tell her I sent you, and, just see how it goes. So I did that, and Tina was really excited, and she was like, "Why don't you just, you can choose the books and put it together." And then, so I did that. I reached out to publicists and I picked my first set of novels. And Tina liked it so much, she made it the lead of the book section. That was back when we were still weekly. So in the issue, and then we launched it online as well. And it's been monthly ever since. And this is actually, it started in 2019. So come October, it will be 4 years old, which I could hardly believe. I work 11 to 7, so I have a little bit of later hours. So I usually try to get in a good amount of reading in the morning before I start my work day. And then my workday can look like any number of things. I mean, I'm usually on Slack almost 24/7 because I'm part of our breaking news team. So if something happens and they need a reporter to cover it, I try to be available for that as much as possible. But then I also have a lot of beats that aren't romance specific, whether it be other books, but also movies or TV shows. So I'll have a lot of reporting to do for that during the day. So it could be something like one day watching a screener of a new episode of a show I cover, and then the next day interviewing an actor or a writer from that show, and then transcribing it and turning it into a story. And so usually it's some combination of watching or reading something, maybe writing some just, hard news or tracking down confirmations with publicists or things like that. And then writing or pitching longer feature length stuff. So in the rare times that I have a little bit of downtime, that's when I'll start to brainstorm or try to come up with pitches for more larger scale projects. But that doesn't happen as often as I might like. Yes, so I've read Big Bad Wolf by Sulieka Snyder, which is the first in her new paranormal Third Shift series, which I know a lot of people are very excited about. And they've said it's kind of almost the Punisher fan fiction a little bit, which I would say is probably an accurate summation. It is very brutal and very dark, but very, very well done. I have read The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, which I adored. It's just so fun. It's set in the world of public radio. It's enemies to lovers, but the concept is that these two coworkers who hate each other have to fake being exes. So it's, instead of fake dating, it's fake exes for this new radio show. And then what happens when they're supposed to be exes and they start actually falling for each other.
I love that. Have you ever read anything like that before where they did?
No. It's so clever and just really well done. And then another big one, Shipped by Angie Hoffman. If you are a Christina Lauren fan, you are going to love Shipped. It's about this young woman who is works in marketing at a cruise line, and she is up for a promotion, but she ends up being sent on a company cruise. In order to be eligible for this promotion, she has to go on this cruise, but she's in the running against her work arch nemesis. It's really, really interesting, and the backdrop is so tropical and fun, and it felt like taking a vacation without leaving my house. I'm really excited about the new Joanna Shupe coming out in March. It's the first in a new series, and I love what she does with the Gilded Age. I think she's just a genius and so sexy. Like, she writes incredibly steamy scenes that are like no other. I'm also really excited about Martha Waters' To Love and to Loathe. She wrote a book last year called To Have and to Hoax. And it's a really funny Regency rom-com. It felt like Clueless was placed back into the Regency era. It had that like really, really amazing sense of humor. I'm super excited for the next Sally Thorne book, Second First Impressions, because I love Sally Thorne. Who doesn't? I'm also very excited for the Hating Game movie whenever that releases. They wrapped production, so who knows?
There's a Hating Game movie? Wait, did I
Yeah, it just finished filming, I think, right before the holidays. And Lucy Hale is the main character.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also really excited about Act Your Age, Eve Brown, which is the third book in Talia Hibbert's Brown Sisters series. I thought the first two books, both of them were on my best of lists the last 2 years, and I fully expect Eve Brown to be on my 2021 best of list. Talia just writes with extraordinary empathy and humor, and I think anybody who can do both of those things at once is extraordinary. And I'm excited for Battle Royale by Lucy Parker because I'm obsessed with Lucy Parker and anything she writes. Her West End series was so brilliant and so fun. And so can't wait for something new for her. Happy Endings by Tien Kim Lam. And it's her debut novel. And it's about a mixed race couple, a Vietnamese and Black couple who have to work together to save their businesses. But she was selected as part of an Own Voices submissions process that Avon did. And I'm just really excited to have this fresh new voice in the mix. And then there's a book in the fall called The X-Hex by Erin Sterling, which Erin Sterling is the pen name of Rachel Hawkins. And it's a witchy romance. And I feel like that's not something I've seen in the last 4 years. So and it's coming out like right around Halloween. So very into that.
Oh, I love that. I love the idea. Oh, that sounds good. Maureen, have you ever been starstruck by an author?
I'm a huge Meg Cabot fan. I have been reading her books since I was 12, and I think I own every book she's ever written. She is a big part of why I wanted to be a writer. She was my gateway to romance. My first RWA conference, I was at the Avon party, And I like saw her across the room, and I had met her before at signings. Like when I was growing up, anytime she came to LA, I always went to her book signings. But that's a very different thing. And so Pam Jaffe, the publicist at Avon, was like, do you want to meet Meg? I'll introduce you. And I was like, I don't know if I can, like, she's my hero. And then like Pam introduced me to her, and then Meg was like, oh my God, Maureen, I love your column. And then I just was incapable of human thought or speech from that point on. And then I actually got to hang out with her the rest of the night, and she was everything I've ever dreamed she would be. And I have so loved anytime I've gotten to interview or chat with her since 2 years ago, 2019, during RWA in New York City, I moderated an author event at Barnes & Noble, and Meg came just to be in the audience, and she came up to me and she was like, hi, Maureen, do you remember me? I was like, yeah, of course I remember you. You're like the reason I do any of this. It was Ransom My Heart technically by Princess Mia Thermopolis, but written really by Meg Cabot. And it was the romance novel that Princess Mia wrote as her like senior project in the Princess Diaries novels. And it's actually a medieval romance, which is really funny because I feel like we don't necessarily see a lot of those. And then I wouldn't say I read a ton in the genre after that. And then Eva Leigh's Wicked Quills series was my first like big foray into the genre when I really started obsessively reading it.
Would you rather review an Amish romance with a paranormal twist and a suspenseful barn-raising scene, or review an Amish romance with an erotic twist and a super hot quilt-making scene?
Definitely the erotic one. Into the quilt making. I just got into cross stitching during the pandemic, so there for the crafts. As a general rule, I tell publicists not to send me Amish romances because they are very much not my thing. But yeah, definitely one that was maybe a little more steamy would be more up my alley.
Would you rather read a second chance romance between a firefighter and a rancher who was snowed in at a cabin with only one bed, or read a second chance romance between a unicorn shapeshifter and the bounty hunter tasked with arresting her?
The second chance romance with only one bed, because only one bed is definitely a trope that I love.
Okay.
I love all of the tropiness of that.
Would you rather only read cozy, sweet romances for the rest of your life, or only read wacky, sexy rom-coms for the rest of your life?
Definitely wacky, sexy rom-coms. I feel like that's part of my brand. So.
Okay. Would you rather discover a never-before-seen unpublished romance manuscript by late author Jackie Collins that's taped to the back of a painting you bought at an estate sale, or discover a sci-fi romance novel written by Danielle Steele under the pen name Danny Metal in the bargain bin of a used bookstore?
Well, I think Jackie Collins, because that means I get a painting in the deal, and also hopefully I get some sort of financial cut from this discovery. So.
Well, Maureen, it has been a pleasure to spend time with you. Thank you for joining me on Reader Seeks.
Oh, you're so welcome.